Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for your Model Railway. In today's lesson, we're going to start looking at drawing this radiator that's on the side of our DTS model. So it's relatively simple and straightforward looking at the pictures. There's a lot of complicated details and pipes coming off that I'm going to leave off. This grooving I'm not too worried about, but it's relatively straightforward part, I should think, for us to draw on here. Okay, so again, if we jump into Fusion, we're going to start by, let's turn this roof panel off and we can see looking downwards. The part's going to go sort of in this area here. So we're going to come back up to the top. Let's minimize that. We're going to create a new component. And we're going to call this side radiator. Probably spelled wrong. Rubbish at spelling myself, but that'll do. Okay, so if we look at the plans on the side here, it's this box here, so we can see that it's 32 inches square. Dimension wise, we're going to have a little bit of an issue here. I'm going to initially place it, but then we'll probably have to come back and move it because all of Paul's dimensions are from this end. What we could actually do is just calculate this, add all these up. So we've got 51 plus 22 plus 82.5 plus 8 plus 63 plus 13 plus 8. So we're going to be 247.5 inches from the back cap here. So that's one way we can work that out. So let's get this rectangle drawn. So it's 32 inches square. We jump into Fusion. Make sure we've got the radio button selected. Create a sketch on this bottom surface. So you see it spin the model out, so it's going to be in this area here. Let's create that rectangle. So we know it's 32 inches square, which is 812.8. So define that as 812.8 divided by 1.8. Okay, and then 247.5. 6286. So we can define distance from that corner to that edge. We said it was 6286.5. 6286.5 divided by 1.8. Okay, and that ain't gonna work. Let's see, did I miss any measurements out on that plan? $51, 22, 82.5, 8, 63, 13, 8. No, I didn't. Coming the other way, we know all these measurements are as per the model. See, on this measurement, it's only, oh no, that's the underframe detail. We can see that Paul's got the picture here, sort of level with the end of the let's extrude this upwards. So 5.492 is going to be the height. Okay, so yeah, that position there might be okay. So maybe just that we need to extend this floor piece. Let's see if we can zoom in on this. So yeah, the floor piece ends at the same point. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's come back into Fusion. We're going back to the chassis and we'll find that part there. So let's try making that 46mm. There we go. It's slightly overlapped, but I'm happy to go with that. Okay. Okay, so drawing this front detail on the radiator, as easy as it to draw, it's going to be difficult to get it to print. What I might do is just try it and then potentially just draw lots of little extrusion lines and then potentially use a bit of dry brushing to see if it will come out in the print. So if we just create an extrusion on here, I'm actually going to extrude it forwards, I think. So I'm going to draw, I'm going to go for 0.1 thick. Wrong box. Delete that. 1mm thick. To define the distance from the bottom, we're going to have 0.3. Distance from the side, again I think I'm 0.3 both sides. Then I'm going to extrude it forwards, 0.15. Wait a minute, got the wrong thing checked. Finish that sketch. Let's delete that sketch because we don't want that. We want it in radiator. Sorry about that. So we've got the correct button check there. That's something that's easily done. 1mm there. 0.1mm there. Easily done. We all do it. So don't worry if it's happened to you. Just go back and change it. Okay, let's extrude this forwards, 0.1 as well. Hopefully it will just give some lines and some depth there that maybe a thin black wash will create that impression of it being a radiator. How many lines do you reckon? Oh, let's go for 30. Oh, to be fair, that's a pretty good guess. Yeah, I think that potentially if that prints okay, which it might well do, it might just do enough that a bit of black wash would sit in those nicely. Okay, cool. Okay, next if we look on the side here, we've got 3 inlet valves here for pipes. Again, I'm not going to worry about drawing the pipes because I think it'd be better to use wire. But we can certainly draw those manifolds on there. Let's actually have a look, see. I'd say they're probably somewhere in the middle of the width. So if we find the midpoint, and actually I want to just check the height of the first one, it's reasonably near the top. We go for 0.5mm in diameter. Okay, define the height, 0.7, and distance on the edge. So come out 0.4 millimeters there. And again, I'm just going to pattern that feature, direction down the model, and there's going to be 4 of them. Let's see if we've got a height at the bottom one. That picture. It's about the same from what the top one is. So we'll go for 4 millimeters as my length. Just had a thought, we didn't define the width of the model here, so let's just jump back in here, see if we've got a view looking down with the width here. And there is, but it's not measured. Okay, let's go back into Fusion and see what we got as the width. .2 millimeters. I don't think that's a foot. There you go, it's definitely not. I reckon that's less than that. Let's change that. I think I'm going to go for 1.2 millimeters, which means, I have to change the position of these. If I change up to 0.6, that then puts them in the middle. Okay, so that's that bit fixed. So moving around to the back of the radiator, what you can see, we've got obviously the circle cowling here around the fan. That should be quite a simple little easy sketch to draw on there. So if we come back down to the radiator here, just going to select a sketch on this rear profile. Make sure you're getting the origin there. Just selecting that rear profile, and then we're going to put a circle in the middle. So if we find the 2 midpoints, and then we can just drag this out to the correct size. Now looking at the pictures, you can see that the top of the circle and the sides are pretty much going to the outside. So we can just drag this pretty much all the way out. I wouldn't say go to the outside, but go, pretty close to it. Doing that line there. It's supposed to be defining. But cancel. That's too many buttons at once. Define that circle. There we go. So we just go 5.3. That'll give us a reasonable size. And we'll fix that into position there. Okay, let's extrude this towards us. I think it's about 6 inches or so, so I'm just going to come maybe about 1 millimeter. Okay, so if we look at it, is there any other shapes? Do we need to do anything to it really? Possibly we could go, actually I wonder if we could do that and just curve that in slightly. Yeah, I think what we might do is that actually. Let's undo that extrusion. Actually, cancel that. Let's extrude that slightly. So 0.5. And if we chamfer the edge off, I don't want to do that now. What we want to do is chamfer actually. Okay, I think I'm going to go with a chamfer, and then I'm going to take this profile and bring that out 0.5 millimeter. And then I could probably let's turn the cap off. Yeah, that's what I'm after. So if we do the chamfer, extrude the profile that's left and then fillet that curve so you get that curved shape coming around here. So I'm going to curve that to 0.75. Yeah, I think probably about 0.75 looks like the best. I'm going to go with that. As you can see, I get that curved shape all the way down then. Cool. And then looking on the rear of the fan here, we've got, clearly think, a hydraulic motor or something on the end here. I'm just going to use a rectangular shape to pull out from the center there, I think. So create a sketch on that back profile. I'm going to use a center point rectangle so that we can lock that midpoint to the circle. And I think probably about 1 millimeter square. And then extrude that towards us. I think it's maybe a little bit over 6 inches. I'm not going to draw it again in too much detail. What I might do is just round off the 4 corners. Just fillet those in slightly. Yeah, 0.35 looks okay to me, I think. Again, with the hydraulic pipes, if I want to, I'm going to just drill a couple of holes in. I'm not going to draw them on here because the holes will be so small that they're just gunk up with resin. I think you're just as easy to drill it out with a small pin vise afterwards, and then I can just hang a couple of small black wires coming down. Same with what I'm going to do underneath here, and then it will just look like that massive hydraulic cables and pumps coming out. Okay, so I think radiator wise, I think we're not far off there really. I'm not too concerned about drawing this cowling around the outside because I think that would get snapped off being so thin. In double O, yeah, go by all means, go for it if you want to. You know, you just draw a couple of rectangles out across, and then they look like they're going down as well. No, just coming out across top and bottom. But I think that's a good representation of what we're looking at there, and yeah, quite pleased with that. Okay, I'm going to finish the episode here, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and thanks for watching.